our system of government is always evolving. Even though we in this country have written constitutions, that doesn't really impede in any way the evolution of government. It sometimes requires changes to constitutions. The state constitutions, of course, are much more flexible, that is, they're easier changed than the federal one. I don't see that as an impediment to the overall evolution. I think there are a couple of things on the agenda. The Republic is an obvious one, but let's be clear about that. I mean, the switch to a Republican form of government in Australia, along the lines suggested, is really an evolutionary move, not a revolutionary move. It wouldn't change the day-to-day operations of the system of government at all. And that's probably a good thing. I think the age-old tension between executive power and parliamentary accountability, that is, Parliament trying to keep the executive accountable, that's going to continue as an issue. Of course, in recent years, I think the balance has gone the way of the executive simply because of the so-called war on terror, because that's raised the whole question of we must protect the people. I noticed recently when we had a so-called eco-terrorist event in Victoria that both sides of politics quickly jumped up and said, let's have some more laws to protect people against this. I thought that was a knee-jerk reaction, unnecessary reaction. I think that's one thing we could do, is slow down the lawmaking process. Australian parliaments are great generators of legislation. It's one thing to legislate, it's one thing to govern well. Certainly in the area of so-called counter-terrorism, I think it's probably time that in the interests of liberal democracy, some of those laws get wound back. I mean, one can understand why they were introduced at the time, particularly the September 11 catastrophe, which just had such a dramatic impact, and subsequent things. But I think now may be the time to revisit some of those and say, well, was that really the best way to go about it? Do we need this anymore? Don't the ordinary laws cover this, and so on? So I think what we'll be looking at is well, let's hope this is what we're looking at, is we're looking at an age of de-terrorism.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think a period where we lose the panic. I mean, because I think, I'm not saying the panic wasn't at times justified, it was, but politicians of all sides love law and order campaigns, and they get into bidding wars with each other about who can be tougher on crime and who can be tougher on terrorism. And you can understand why that's the case, but is it good government? Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not.